When Dave Hickman, now 73, was a 14-year-old Richmond, Indiana boy, he was hunting with his grandpa, Clay Smith, in the woods west of Boston, Indiana, when they heard the voice of a wailing infant. He stated he heard a disturbance in the woods while hunting in southern Indiana at the age of 14 by the grace of God. What he discovered there would permanently change his life. It will be great if you like and share this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon next to it to get notified when we add new interesting videos in the future. Now let's get back to the story. In a field off Indiana 122, Dave Hickman and his grandfather had just finished hunting and were skinning squirrels. On September 22, 1955, it was shortly after 6 p.m., a noise like a gentle cry broke their post-hunt bliss. They heard it once more. Hickman made the innocent, inquisitive choice to find out what it was, a decision that saved a human life. He moved about 25 yards along the fence road to the source of the disturbance, then he began climbing the fence. Hickman recalled, September 22, 1955, I'd been hunting with my grandfather, and I kept hearing a very odd sound. It wasn't the sound of a baby crying. It was more of a soft cooing sound, I said. I have to find out what this is. So I started walking up the fence. I got on top of the fence. I looked down, and there was a baby. She was soaking wet. Her lips were blue. She was just wrapped in a towel. My grandfather said, "We have to do something real quick. We have to get help for the baby." It was a little infant, alone, shivering, damp from the night's rain, wrapped in a towel, umbilical cord coagulated and now stuck to a towel fabric. She had been there for about a day, according to the police. Doctors estimated she was just 5 or 6 days old. She had been left there to die without a doubt. Every day I see that vision of her laying in the brush and sticks, and she was looking up at me. She wasn't crying, it was more like she was cooing. You could tell she had been there a while, Hickman said.
Sound of a baby crying. It was more of something real quick. We had to get help for the baby.
It was a shock. You just would never think you would find a baby laying out there. I remember thinking, what kind of a person would do something like this? After finding the baby in the woods, the two rescued her. They phoned the Wayne County Sheriff's Department right away, and the infant was transferred to Reed Memorial Hospital, where she was treated and cared for. Roseanne Wayne was given the name because the personnel at the Wayne County Welfare Department, where she was put, liked it, and Wayne for the Wayne County. Authorities were never able to figure out who left the infant where she was found. Their sole indication was a small washing mark on the towel she was wrapped in, which wasn't enough to track down the baby's abandoners. The Child Welfare Service received a dozen calls from families interested in adopting the child. No preparations for the baby's future would be made until she was strong enough to leave the hospital, according to the applicants. The infant made it through and began to grow. Hickman, a devout Christian, has been troubled by the experience all of his life, especially the day months later after Dennis Middle School when he was summoned to the office and discovered 2 nurses and baby Roseanne. She was being adopted out, and they brought her so he could hold her to say goodbye. Hickman said, "She was so beautiful, sound asleep, wrapped in a blanket. My emotions just took over." Fast forward 58 years to December 9, 2013, after the incident. Hickman wrote to John Cady of Richmond, requesting Cady's assistance in finding baby Roseanne. Hickman claimed he and his wife Gail had been looking for the child he discovered in the woods for 40 years. He said he continually wondered what happened to Roseanne and how wonderful it would be to just talk to her and find out what her life has been like, Cady said.
Hickman wanting to know if I could figure out how to find the girl that he had found in the woods.
Hickman had written to Wayne County officials, Reed Hospital officials, and the Palladium Item newspaper requesting information throughout the years. He even wrote to Edward Corky Cordell, the previous sheriff. He didn't get anywhere. Finally, he wrote to Cady, Wayne County's retired 2-term sheriff and former commissioner and counselor. Cady was more than capable. He dialed Hickman's number, which is in Vonore, Tennessee, a community of 1,462 people south and west of Knoxville. He told me, "I'm going to do everything I can to get you two together by Christmas," Hickman said. "I thought that would be a miracle." Cady discovered that the court records on adoptions and welfare records involving minors were sealed and unavailable to the public, so he had to rely on old-fashioned detective work to uncover information. He relied on his connections in the county and county government, as well as his local knowledge and determination. He was frustrated far more often than he was rewarded with useful data. There had been deaths, others couldn't recall what happened, or their recollections were jumbled. Still, he went from one hint to the next in a methodical manner. I'll bet I talked to 75 people, bankers, attorneys, nurses, physicians, veterinarians. I knew they had to be old to remember this. They've got to be 80 or better, Katie said. I got lucky. Katie contacted Hickman in Tennessee around 9 a.m. on December 22nd with the news of what he has discovered. He said, "Write down this name and write down this phone number," he said. "Dave, that's your Roseanne. I had been trying to find her. I had spent so many years worrying about what had happened to her. It was truly amazing," he said. After he collected her contact from Katie, Hickman called. "When I heard her voice, I couldn't talk. The emotions overcame me. I gave the phone to my wife and she talked to her. After a little bit, then I could talk to her. There was an instant bond between Ellen and me. It's almost as if she was my baby. It certainly has had quite an effect on me." Katie had located Mary Ellen Suey in less than 30 days. It was like a police investigation for him. "That's my background," he said. "You just keep digging until you find something to build on." Katie, for example, sought to speak with Julian Benner, a former Boston town marshal who assisted with the baby's rescue and inquiry. But Benner had died. As a result, he spoke with Benner's wife, Meta Jane, who remembered that the family that acquired Roseanne's surname could have begun with the letter T. Meta Jane also informed Katie that in the early 1990s, a woman had been around asking for the two women who had discovered the infant. According to another version, the baby's adoptive family was well known in Wayne County. Retired Dr. Everett Test, a veterinarian who resided in the region in the 1950s before migrating to Maryland, was given to Katie by Cambridge City contractor Jim Sweet. Sweet advised him to contact Dr. Mark Woodward, a veterinarian who knew Test. Merwin and Margaret Test, Test's son and wife, were given to Katie by Woodward. Katie utilized the information to construct a familial connection, which led him to Kevin Schindler's house in Richmond's South End. Schindler works at Contract Industrial Tooling in Richmond for Katie's son Mike, and the Schindlers reside just down the road from the Katies. Schindler said that Merwin and Margaret Test had adopted the baby girl known as Roseanne Wayne, and her name was now Mary Ellen Suey, and she was living in Riversdale, California, Katie said. "I was pretty surprised." He requested that Schindler contact Suey to see whether it was okay for him to call her. Katie then called to clarify that she was the infant Roseanne Wayne, and to ask if she may give Dave Hickman her phone number. "She told me she had been looking for him for years, and that she very much wanted to talk to him," Katie said. "It was exciting to hear from John Katie," Ellen Suey said recently from her home in Riverside. "It was like getting back a piece of my personal history that I never thought I'd get back. John Katie's the real hero here," Hickman said. "I can't thank him enough." Suey's family relocated to Silver Springs, Maryland, when she was a baby, and then to California in 1964. She worked for the U.S. Defense Department there for 30 years as an executive assistant, but she returns to the Richmond region every year to see her Aunt Ruth Schindler. Suey married, divorced, and has been married to her second husband, Bob Suey, for the past 19 years. They have 4 grandkids. One of them, unfortunately, passed away in January. "She's a very lovely lady, a strong Christian," Hickman said. Hickman graduated from Richmond High School in 1960, served in the Army for 3 years, and then went to Florida with his family, where he spent the rest of his life working in construction. Before going to Tennessee 8 years ago, he retired in Florida. He visits Richmond regularly to see 5 close pals. Suey and Hickman have become great friends and communicate almost every day. The Hickmans contacted and sent cards and flowers after Suey's grandson died. In May, they intend to meet in Richmond. "He's my hero," Suey said of Hickman.
It was almost like I had known Dave for years.
"I'm pretty sure that whoever placed me in the field near Boston placed me there to die. If he hadn't found me, I would have died." But Hickman didn't want to be called a hero. "I'm just very fortunate I was there," he said. "I found her because God allowed me to save her life. I'm so pleased that he honored me to find her." He said, "The Lord's my hero," and I said, "I understand that, but you are my hero on earth," Suey said. Both have stated that the reunion will be very emotional, but they are going to be happy tears, Suey said. "He will see that I lived a good life. They are good people, and now we consider Dave and Gail part of our family." "I'm looking forward to that so much," Hickman said. "It's a wonderful end to the story, but it won't be an end. It's just a beginning." Sui is still working to open her adoption case file and learn as much as she can about her biological parents. I'm very inquisitive. I want to know why things happen this way, she said.
You've been waiting for this one 58 years, huh?
She has requested that Hickman take her to the location where he discovered her. I always wonder, why did they pick this spot? I guess I can look at the spot, as that's where I started my life, right there. That's where I got my life back. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you, and see you on the next one. Bye.